Very good. Next up, Officer Bar Brady in the back asking Darby Allin if he will face MJF next week. And again, Darby Allin, in what I assume is a hypnotic trance, mumbles acceptance in a very non-emotional, kind of bummed out way. And then, now bear in mind, they're in the back of the arena. Marvez has just asked him the question. He's just answered it. A limousine pulls up behind Darby Allin. Darby Allin turns around and is ready to fight. A limousine just pulls up, but he figures if it pulls up behind him, who knows who's in it, they're going to fight me. He takes his fucking jacket off, takes his shirt off. He's like, come on out of the limousine. And Sean Spears in a ski mask nails Darby Allin with a chair from behind. That fucking Marvez never said boo to a goose. Didn't say look out, watch out, didn't warn him. So you mean to tell me in the 10 seconds or 15 seconds from the time that we last saw Marvez on camera ask Darby Allin that question and hold the microphone for him to answer, that as soon as Darby turns around and sees a limousine, Marvez fucking takes off and leaves the entire building and has no idea that Sean Spears is 10 feet behind Darby Allin when he's obviously right off camera. And then Spears hits Darby with the fucking chair from behind and then goes over and reaches and grabs the camera away from the cameraman, which I thought, well, that's a nice shot or nice touch. They're taking the TV camera from the cameraman because certainly this cameraman, being a goddamn compassionate human being, might try to help or at least stop shooting, but Spears steals the camera from the cameraman, puts it on his own shoulder, and starts shooting the attack on Darby Allin as the other guys get out of the limo. You know what was the matter with that whole thing that I just said, Brian? When he took the camera from the cameraman and put his on his own shoulder, they switched to a different camera shot of another cameraman right behind that guy. And you see a close-up of Spears with the camera on his goddamn shoulder from the other cameraman that's right behind him. And they beat up Darby Allin and they run him into a stop sign and they run him into the wall and they power bomb him or whatever on a guardrail, and nobody tries, not only does nobody try to help, nobody even calls out, hey, Rube, anything. Nobody alerts that there's a fight. It's like there's no other human beings in the building except the Darby Allin, the people in ski masks that are beating up Darby Allin, and the cameraman that's still shooting them. And MJF was the last one in a mask, and he got on him and did whatever and then walked off. Not a single solitary soul. Actually, I don't even know. When they came back, well, I guess you can't grieve forever. They came back, he was already scraped up off the fucking concrete because Tony was in the back with Britt and Reba and Jamie Hayter about the hose title.
TBS title.
Whatever. Oh, and I forgot, and Leo LBO Rush was doing a promo, and he was talking to Dante Martin because he wants to be on Dante Martin's side. I assume so that he can then turn around and stab him in the back. And he's the leveraged buyout king now. How long do you think it's going to be till he retires?
Until he retires. I knew where you were going right away. He's going to feud with Dante, or at least have a match. I'm going to go long. I'm going to go 7 months. I'm going to play the long game.
You think he'll make it till the start of next summer before he quits the wrestling business again and decides to become either a double naught spy or an astronaut?
1 day a week, although more than that in terms of time you're around everyone. And it'll take some time for people to get fed up with him or irritated by him. The people who would. The people who like him, who are already there, like him. I think he could have a bit of a go here, unless, him and Mark Henry go at it again. But, we'll see.
That would be interesting. That looked like a fucking duck on a June bug. Anyway.
I wasn't crazy about the Darby getting attacked thing, and I kind of said it last week about the promo with MJF. I think you can kind of streamline it a little bit. I think it could be a little simpler. I'm excited about Darby and MJF as a match. I just think like for week 2 to go to this level, it seemed like a bit of a jump and a bit of a, to me, an unnecessary jump. When you have someone as talented as MJF on the mic, you could do a lot of simple stuff just because of the heat he can get by talking instead of something like this. I just thought I would rather see something like this maybe week 3 or week 4.
Here's a question.
A little further down the line, maybe.
Was that MJF?
I thought it was clearly MJF.
Well, then why did they all have masks? I've done the ski mask angle before when I didn't have...
Thrill Seekers, yeah.
Yes, I didn't have Pritchard and Del Rey in Tennessee to jump them, so I came with 2 guys in ski masks because it was well done, but we acted like it was the bodies, but they weren't there. Well, if this was all the real people, and it's obvious that they can commit crimes willy-nilly in the back and weekly and nobody ever gets charged, so why were they trying to hide their identities unless one of the antagonists could not be there and you were trying to make people think that it was? In other words, it doesn't make any sense if it really was MJF for them to be wearing the masks. Except somebody went to a fucking army surplus store or whatever and got some masks and shit and decided to... That's what Rick Rubin, when I drove him from Knoxville to Hendersonville, Tennessee, for his first in-person visit with Johnny Cash. He got to have lunch at Johnny Cash's house by a cracky, but it was vegetarian, so it sucked. We stopped on the way along Interstate 40 on the side of the road at an army surplus store and looked through, and he bought 2 ski masks and 2 sets of real brass knuckles and said, here, do an angle with these, and gave me the masks and the brass knuckles. That's why I did the fucking goddamn angle with ski masks. The brass knuckles were real. They weren't easy to work with, so we didn't use those. Where were we?
We were talking about Darby getting attacked by MJF and what we think is MJF and his pinnacle, who I guess are still together. It answers that question. Where was Tully?
Well,
driving the car.
Where the whole pinochle thing gets on my nerves anyway. But nevertheless, are you ready for the main event?
I guess ready, yes.
Well, I wasn't.